songs. If you can please stand and join us. When all I see is the battle, you see my victory. When all I see is the mountain, you see a mountain moved. And as I walk through the shadow, your love surrounds me. There's nothing to fear now, for I am safe with you. So when I fight, I'll fight on my knees with my hands lifted high. Oh God, the battle belongs to you, and every fear I lay at your feet. I'll sing through the night. Oh God, the battle belongs to you. And if you are for me, who can be against me? For Jesus, there's nothing impossible for you. When all I see are the ashes, you see the beauty. When all I see is a cross, God, you see the empty tomb. So when I fight, I'll fight on my knees with my hands lifted high. Oh God, the battle belongs to you, and every fear I lay at your feet. I'll sing through the night. Oh God, the battle belongs to you. Nothing can stand against the power of our God. You shine in the shadow. You win every battle. Nothing can stand against the power of our God. Almighty fortress, you go before us. Nothing can stand against the power of our God. You shine in the shadow. You win every battle. Nothing can stand against the power of our God.
Sing this out.
Almighty fortress, you go before us. Nothing can stand against the power of our God. You shine in the shadow. You win every battle. Nothing can stand against the power of our God. So when I fight, I'll fight on my knees with my hands lifted high. Oh God, the battle belongs to you, and every fear I lay at your feet. I'll sing through the night. Oh God, the battle belongs to you. Oh God, the battle belongs to you.
Oh, I've heard 1,000 stories of what they think you're like, but I've heard the tender whisper of love, the dead of night, and you tell me that you're pleased and that I'm never alone. You're a good, good Father. It's who you are. It's who you are. It's who you are, and I'm loved by you. It's who I am. It's who I am. It's who I am. Oh, I've searched many, searching for answers far and wide, but I know we're all searching for answers. Only you provide, and you know just what we need before we say a word. You're a good, good Father. It's who you are. It's who you are. It's who you are, and I'm loved by you. It's who I am. It's who I am. It's who I am. And you are perfect in all of your ways. You are perfect in all of your ways. You are perfect in all of your ways to us. Sing it one more time with me. Say, you are perfect in all of your ways. You are perfect in all of your ways. You are perfect in all of your ways to us. Oh, love so undeniable, I can hardly speak. Peace so unexplainable, I can hardly think as you call me. Deeper still as you call me. Deeper still as you call me. Deeper still as you call. Love, you're a good, good Father. It's who you are. It's who you are. It's who you are, and I'm loved by you. It's who I am. It's who I am. It's who I am. You're a good, good Father. It's who you are. It's who you are. It's who you are, and I'm loved by you. It's who I am. It's who I am. It's who I am. You're a good, good Father. It's who you are. It's who you are. It's who you are, and I'm loved by you. It's who I am. It's who I am. It's who I am. 'Cause you are perfect in all of your ways. You are perfect in all of your ways. You are perfect in all of your ways to us. give life. You are love. You bring light to the darkness. You give hope. You restore every heart that is broken. Great are you, Lord. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise. We pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you only.
Great are you, Lord.
You give life. You are love. You bring light to the darkness. You give hope. You restore every heart that is broken. Great are you, Lord. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise. We pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you only. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise. We pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you only. All the earth will shout your praise. Our hearts will cry. These bones will sing. Great are you, Lord. All the earth will shout your praise. Our hearts will cry. These bones will sing. Great are you, Lord. All the earth will shout your praise. Our hearts will cry. These bones will sing. Great are you, Lord. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise. We pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you only. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise. We pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you only.
Great are you, Lord.
You may be seated.
Hello, it's me, your money. Let's talk, shall we? Ooh, look, your package came today. I can't wait to find out what we ordered. I'm sure you can't either. Look what I found. Remember this? A penny saved is a penny earned. Hello? Anybody in there? Echoey. Just look at them all. We're rich. I don't like the word hoarder. I prefer the term saving visionary. Who needs a 401k when this buried treasure could be worth something one day? And this. Yes, this. Worth every penny.
Good morning. Welcome to Encounter Church. My name is Dallas. I'm so excited to be here with you on this Daylight Savings Day morning. I'm so proud of you all for remembering to set the clocks. This isn't the way it used to be. I know when I was young, we didn't have the iPhone that controlled all time, all the time, and it switched for you. But well done. We're not going to make a big deal of anybody that walks in an hour late. All right, we're just going to be calm and just kind of not acknowledge them. No, just kidding. I love this day because tonight we will be eating dinner and there will be light coming in the window, finally. But also, this is one of my favorite days of the year, and some of you may not care, but this is what is called Selection Sunday. And maybe, yes, at least a couple people are excited. In college basketball, this is when they select the 68 teams that make it into the bracket for the championship, and then Thursday and Friday and Saturday and Sunday is basketball all day long, and it's awesome. So excited about that, but also excited to be here to start week 2 of Money Talks. And Chris started this last week talking about contentment. And when it comes to money talks, like I think I've shared this with you before, but my wife Dawn is an accountant. So I really don't manage the money in the house. And as I've shared, I don't even know how much money is in the house. I don't know when my paycheck goes in the bank. I'm just told you can spend this or that. And when I do spend this or that, she gets a notification. Therefore, I get a notification about what I spent. And so when it comes to talking about money, if I were to talk to you about how to manage your money, because if you don't manage your money, I do know this, your money will manage you. If I were to talk about how you should manage your money, it would be a 15-second message, because I would just say, marry you a Dawn, and that would be it, because that's all I know how to do, okay? So what I'm going to talk about today is why we should manage our money, why we should manage the way we spend our money, how we save our money, things like that, and really just the self-control that we need to have when it comes to money. And then over the next couple weeks, Chris is going to talk more about the how. So last week when Chris started, he put this verse up, and I've not really been able to get it on my head because it was really good. In 1 Timothy, he said, those who want to get rich fall into temptation and a trap, and into many foolish and harmful desires that plunge people into ruin and destruction. And there's one word in this verse that really stuck out to me, and I've been thinking on all week, and it's the word ruin. When you hear the word ruin, like some of us think of different things. And actually, the definition of ruin is the physical destruction or disintegration of something, or the state of disintegrating or being destroyed. Ruin. And when you think of ruins, maybe we think of something like this. This is something that was in Rome. This used to be a beautiful building or thing, and now after years of weather and time, it is now this. Over time, it has become ruined. But I'm not really like a history guy, so I don't think much about like Roman history and everything. Is it important and as awesome as it is? When I think of ruin, I think of this. That's my garage. And I'm glad y'all think it's funny. Because to me, there's nothing funny about my garage looking like this. That's my space. My garage. In my garage, I'll clean it and I'll make it beautiful. Everything will be in its place. I'll blow all the leaves out. It'll be swept out, and I'll just sit back and admire it. And then within a couple weeks, I'm back to this. I don't do this. This is my children. They don't know how to put stuff away. They get something, and they go and they lay it back in the garage. It's not just my children. My wife likes to bring the recycling and set it right there when the bin is right there. Just take it over there and put it in the recycling bin. And I mentioned this to my wife. I'm like, why don't you just take it over and put it in the recycling bin? I shouldn't have done that because she responded with, do you realize if it wasn't for me, our entire house would look like this? That this is how our garage looks because nobody puts anything away, but none of you put anything away, which is true. When my kids are done with something, they drop it on the floor. Whether it's sports equipment, clothes, towels, whatever it may be, they just leave it where it is. And I'm here to admit, I'm speaking in church, so I must be honest, is that my problem is I don't know how to shut drawers. I mean, I just don't do it. I don't know why. I'll walk, like, Dawn will send me a picture of another drawer that I left open, and she's like, is this a prank? Like, are you messing with me now? I'm like, no, I don't know why. I just take out what I need. And she's like, you realize this stuff has to be picked up and cleaned up, and I'm the one doing it. So my garage is ruined. And what I'm wondering is how many of us, our finances, either look something like this or are on their way to looking something like this because we're not managing our money well. We're not spending our money wisely. We're not saving our money wisely. And it's on the way to absolute ruin. So what I want to talk about today are some of the ways that not having self-control when it comes to money management can ruin certain things in certain areas of our life. And so the first area that it will ruin, obviously, is our financial stability. If we just can't help ourselves but by spending, it can ruin our financial stability. An easier way to say this is you're going to be broke, right? You're not going to have any money left if you just keep spending it and not managing it. In 1 Corinthians 6:12, Paul said, I have the right to do anything, you say, but not everything is beneficial. I have the right to do anything, but I will not be mastered by anything. Now, this talks about several different areas of our life. This could go to like eating, right? Like I'm allowed to eat whatever I want, but is it beneficial? And actually what Paul was getting ready to get in here to was talking about sexual immorality, like doing things with that yes, you're allowed to do that, but is it beneficial for you? But when it comes to money, I think it's the same thing. Like, is the decision you're going to make going to benefit you? You're allowed to do it. It's your money. You're allowed to spend it. When I was young, one of my favorite things to eat was fish. And I'm not talking about healthy fish. I don't know if you've ever heard of a place called Captain D's. This is what's wrong with New England is there's no Captain D's. And if you know of one anywhere close, let me know. I would go to Captain D's all the time. 3-piece fish, hush puppies, fries, not coleslaw, extra hush puppies. And it was so good. I would eat it all the time. And something really bad happened to me when I was in college. I went and got my 3-piece meal. And an hour later, I was covered head to toe in hives. I was like, whew, dying. Like, so I had to take some Benadryl, put me to sleep. I woke up and I was fine. And I was like, that must have been a fluke. So I went back and got my 3-piece again. Hour later, hives, head to toe, worse than the time before. I was like, no. I went to the doctor, and the doctor came in and said, yeah, what can I help you with today? I'm like, every time I eat fish, I get hives. I have an allergy to fish. And she said, She got my face said, don't eat fish. I'll see you later, right? I'm like, no, you need to fix me. I need it. But I would continually go, and Dawn would be like, don't do it. I'm like, I have to. It's so good. Eat it. Hives, Benadryl, right? Like, I'm like, in the moment, I'm like, I have to have it. I could eat it, but it wasn't beneficial for me later. Same with our spending. I mean, I'm hungry. I want to eat out again today. Day after day, I'm just going to keep eating out. And that bank account's just going to keep going down. Because in the moment, I can't control myself. I'm going to get another Starbucks today. Every day, I'm going to get a Starbucks. I know that just struck a nerve, right? Like, we got to have our Starbucks, right? Got to have our coffee. But are we dwindling our bank account? Are we ruining our finances? I got to make another bet. This bet is going to be the one. I know I've only got $20 in the bank, but I'm going to bet it on this and double it. And then again. And then again, you're ruining your financial stability day to day, living paycheck to paycheck, waiting for that next check to come in because the last one, as soon as I got it, I spent it. And then the electric bill came. We didn't have any food. And now I have to wait for the next check to come in. Oh, because I also spent my savings on that thing I wanted or on another trip that we wanted to take. And now we don't have any money left. We're broke because of that lack of self-control in the moment. So we're ruining our financial stability. We're also we can ruin relationships. Whether this is with a spouse, child, parent, co-workers. When it comes to money, things get tense, right? It's kind of always there. And I would say maybe the number one thing that folks fight about in marriage and argue about is probably money. Proverbs 15:27, the greedy bring ruin to their households, but the one who hates bribes will live. It's always there. My oldest son, Dagan, drives our Chevy Malibu. He thinks it's his Chevy Malibu. It's our Chevy Malibu. And he drives it. And the thing about Dagan is that he has a place for everything. Like, very organized. He had nothing to do with that garage. All right, I'm not going to say the name of the one who the main one was, but he knows who he is. But Dagan has, everything has a certain place. And so I get into his car one day, and I'm like, oh, what is that smell? He goes, oh yeah, that's my baseball cleats. Just stinking up the car. I'm like, boy, take those out of here. He's like, oh, I know it stinks. So, assuming that the problem's going to be taken care of, I get in there a few weeks later. I'm like, oh, look back there, they're still there because he can't make himself take them out. I'm like, Dagan, that is awful, man. Like, you know what the problem is. You know what's causing the stink in this car. And until you do something about it, it's going to continue to be the problem. There's so much tension around money that is just there, right? It's just there, and we know what the problem is. We know we're spending on this every day, and I'm spending on myself, and I'm doing selfish things with my money, and now my kids and my spouse might have to go without this or that because I'm not controlling it, and I'm causing more and more tension in my relationships. Or if you borrow money from somebody, you're like, yeah, I'll get that back to you. That creates a tension in that relationship with that person that can lead to ruin in your relationships. So when we don't manage our money well, we don't take care of our money well, we don't show self-control when it comes to money, it can ruin our financial stability. It can ruin relationships with others, and it can also ruin what is best. Ruin what is best. In Galatians 5:16, 17, it says, "So I say, walk by the Spirit, and you will not gratify the desires of the flesh. For the flesh desires what is contrary to the Spirit, and the Spirit what is contrary to the flesh. They are in conflict with each other so that you are not to do whatever you want. You have what the flesh, what the world tells you to do. Do what makes you happy. Have you had your break today? Like, go fill yourself up. Take care of yourself. Give yourself more." And the Spirit says, do for others. Give to others. Take care of those less fortunate than you. Jesus even said in Matthew, "No one can serve two masters. Either you will hate the one and love the other, or you'll be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and money." I mentioned a couple weeks ago that when I was in college, like working my way through college, I worked at a grocery store. And in this store, the owners of the store were brothers. And so I remember a time I had one of the owners said to me, "Dallas, will you go fill up the milk?" I'm like, "Yeah." I go back there and I'm filling up the milk and getting it all nice. And then the other brother comes and says, "Dallas, can you stop doing that and go up front and sweep around the front door?" I'm like, "Oh, yeah, sure." And so I leave it and I go up front. And the other brother comes back and says, "What are you doing?" Like, "Oh," I said, no, I don't want to hear your excuses. Get back there and fill the milk." Like, "Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. So I go back, fill the milk, and putting the milk up. And you know what happens then? Here comes the other one's like, "I thought I told you to sweep." "Yeah, but you're, no. Please go sweep the front." And I go and I sweep the front. And I'm just like, and you know what it's doing to me? It's making me crazy, right? Like, I'm trying to do what both of my bosses told me to do who are equal, and you can't, and I'm trying, but they both want me to do different things. Maybe you're trying to serve God with your money, or maybe but at the same time trying to serve yourself. You're like, okay, this extra amount of money I have, I'm going to give it to those in need. And then the money comes in, you're like, "Oh, wow, wait a minute. I'm going to buy this time, but then next time when I get money, I'm going to give it to the church. I'm going to give it to those in need next time." And you just start driving yourself crazy. Because you want to, right? You want to give, you want to serve. And when I'm talking about when I'm talking about serving God, you're like, how do I know if I'm using my money to serve God? Well, are you using it for yourself, or are you using it for the glory of God and the good of other people? Every penny you get. Now, don't hear what I'm not saying. I believe that you should treat yourself. I think that we should have something to look forward to, and that helps us with our mental health. I believe that you should take vacations. I believe you should have reliable transportation. We had a minivan we've been driving for years, and we were about to pour a bunch of money into it. And we're like, you know what? We've never had a new car, and so we got a new car. And it was funny because I was always telling everybody, like, "Look at this. Watch. I go to my coworkers, and like we're all in the parking lot. I'm watch this. And I push the button. It's like, look, I don't even have to use the keys. And they're like, "Yeah. It's been around for a while." I'm like, "Oh, well, watch this. So watch. I get in the car, and I'm like, "Watch this." And I put it in reverse. It shows me behind me. And they're like, "Yeah, it's been around for a little while." I'm like, "Oh, I've never had a new car." I also, another thing was, we had our house painted last spring. And our house had gotten to the point, anybody ever see the show The Munsters? That's what our house was starting to look like. And it's like, we need our house painted. Something else I would love to do is I would love to add a room onto our house to send my children in, to not have to deal with anymore. And then we can have the rest of the house. But I'm like, you know what? We could do that. All we have to do is stop giving the money to the church that we're giving to them. And man, think what we could do. We could put the room on the house. We could put a new fence up. Like, we're giving all this money to the church every month. I'm like, let's take that and put another room on the house. Let's get me another car that has a camera or something, fun. Or, most people know when I'm preaching because this is my preaching shirt. It's like, Dawn, can I get another shirt? She's like, no, that's your preaching shirt. Like, oh. Honestly, I'll walk in and people are like, oh, you're preaching today? I'm like, no, it's just the shirt, But take the money we're giving from the church for the glory of God and the good of other people, and let's spend that on a new room. But we don't need the new room. So I think the question comes down to, what are you doing with your excess? Because I believe that if we stop giving what we're giving, I honestly believe a lot of stuff's going to start falling apart. Not just like around our house, but possibly in other people's lives and things like that. I believe you cannot outgive God. With your time, with your service, and with your money. And so we made a decision, like we're going to give at least 10% of everything we make to the church every month. I remember when Dawn and I first started going to church, we'd write a check for $5. And that was great. That was a great place to start for us. We just started going to church, and we get $5 check for $5. And I like the plate would come around, and I'd be like, see that? $5 on the plate. Make sure everybody sees that. And then the preacher starts talking about 10% of everything I make. I'm like, what? But there's no other way to do it. It's like we have been so blessed and so taken care of, but God gives us excess. When you're given more, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to spend it on yourself? Or are you going to give it to the good of others, the glory of God and the good of other people? I think that's why we're blessed with more. That's why you have more clothes than you need. I don't. We have more clothes than we need. We have more food than we need. We have more money than we need. What are you doing with the excess? Yes, take a vacation. But do you need 3 vacations a year? I'm not judging. Maybe you do. Do you need 3 brand new cars? Do you need the extra 2 rooms on the house? Do you need this or that? Do you need to eat out for lunch every single day? I don't know what it is. But what are you doing with your excess? I believe that God gives us that excess to give to other people. That's how you serve God with your money. The glory of God and the good of other people. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He is not the best basketball player of all time. Michael Jordan is. And if you don't believe that, get out. Just kidding. Kareem, phenomenal basketball player, played for the Lakers. And in 2019, it's funny that I just saw this yesterday. This came across. I never knew this happened. But in 2019, Kareem, who had won multiple championships for the Lakers, multiple MVP trophies, most valuable player trophies, had basketballs that were given to him that were like championship balls. They gave him the game ball. He sold all of it. It's like, what? He sold all his championship rings. He sold his MVP trophies. At auction, he sold all of it for $3 million. $3 million. Now, to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, $3 million probably isn't a lot. I mean, he's probably worth millions. But to sell those items that are so personal to him, like you can't replace that stuff. And they sold it all. And when asked, like, why? Kareem said, when it comes to choosing between storing a championship ring or trophy in a room or providing kids with an opportunity to change their lives, the choice is pretty simple. Sell it all. He gave away his most prized possessions for the good of other people. Wow. What do you have sitting around home that you could sell, that you could get rid of, and give all that money to somebody else for the glory of God and the good of other people? That's my garage I talked about earlier. So maybe your finances are starting to look like this. And I've been there. Like my finances at times have been a mess. Before I met Don, it was real bad. I had no idea how to manage my money. I thought when you got money, you spent the money. I got my money. And I remember like at that grocery store making like $4.25 an hour and was pumped about it, right? And you just get the money, and I didn't know how to manage it, so finances became a mess, and it was paycheck to paycheck. You're just waiting. Can I just have another couple days, and then I'll send you the money I owe you? And then you get the money, and you're like, I bet they could wait another couple weeks. Let me spend this on this or that. Then you kind of lose self-control again. And so the finances would turn into this. This was my garage a couple weeks ago. Do you know what my garage looks like now? Same. Still looks the same. I had this plan. I'm like, all right, we're going to go clean it up. And I'm going to show a picture of a clean garage. And then we didn't have any time. So this garage will be cleaned. Am I going to clean it? No. My children will clean it because they made the mess. My wife will not have to clean it because she does enough cleaning and picking up after us. But I was like, boys, we're cleaning the garage today. You're going to go in the garage. You're going to take everything out. You're going to sweep it. And you're going to put everything back where it goes. I want a clean garage. And am I going to help them? Actually, yeah, I am going to help them. Here's why. I don't want my children to have to clean up the mess they made by themselves because they'll never get it done. I want them to know that I'm there. If you have any questions about where things go, I'm here. If you need guidance where anything goes, I'm here. If there's anything you can't lift, I can do the heavy lifting. That's really not true with my children, but if there's anything you can't do, I'm here to do it for you. I'll do the majority of the work, but you guys, you have to step in and do your part. And I believe that some of you, maybe you're in this place financially where you're in this absolute mess. You're so broke. You're like, we don't have the money to get the next bill paid. We can't even pay the next rent. And maybe you've caused this problem because of onto yourself, or maybe it's been circumstances that you've had no control over. But I guarantee you this, God does not say you're going to clean up that mess by yourself. He wants to walk beside you and walk with you to clean up that mess. And he's here to help you, to guide you. If you have questions, if you need guidance, he's there to help you put things back where they go. Dig out of that financial ruin and get yourself to a better place financially. And over the next couple weeks, Chris is going to talk about how. How do we do our money in a godly way? With our spending, with our savings. How do we honor God? How do we glorify God? How do we fix relationships? How do we become financially stable? And how do we use our money for the glory of God and the good of other people? And Chris will do that in the next 2 weeks as we continue with Money Talks. Let's pray. God, thank you just for the fact that you give us everything we have, I believe that every good thing that we have comes from you. I believe that you have given us more than we need so we can give to others. And Jesus, I know that there are people in this room today and online who they struggle with money management. They struggle with self-control when it comes to spending. And God, I just pray that you would be with them, that you would help them to see that next step when it comes to managing money. That you would do a work in their lives to help them come out of that ruin. Nothing is ruined and lost forever if God is on our side. If you are on our side, Jesus, we cannot lose. I pray if there's anyone here right now, God, that doesn't know you, Jesus, that you would begin to stir their hearts to take that next step to be closer and to be a child of yours. We thank you and we pray all this in your name, Jesus. Amen. We're going to finish with a song called He Loves Me. There's a couple lines in this song. One of them is, He is jealous for me. God is a jealous God. What's He jealous of? The other things that you're devoted to. Your money, your time, other places. And He wants all of you. He is so jealous for you. And then the other part is just the whole part about it, talking about if you're somebody who's here today, maybe this is your first time in church. Maybe you're not a Christian. You don't even know if there is a God. First of all, you are so welcome here, and we are so glad you are here. And all God wants from you is to know that when you are ready, He is here to receive you with open arms. That He loves you just the way you are. He will never, ever, ever stop chasing after you. He brought you here today to hear that He loves you the way you are, and I'm never going to stop chasing you. And I have good, great things planned for you if you do things my way. So I'm going to invite everybody to stand. And as we sing, maybe you're having a financial struggle that you want to lift up to God. Maybe you have a relationship that's been ruined because of money or other things you want to lift up to God. Or maybe you're just like, you know what, I feel a stirring that I just want to know God. Whatever it may be, as we sing, respond.
He is jealous for me. He loves like a hurricane. I am a tree bending beneath the weight of His wind and mercy. When all of a sudden I am unaware of these afflictions eclipsed by glory, and I realize just how beautiful you are and how great your affections are for me. And oh, how he loves us so. Oh, how he loves us, how he loves us all. Cause we are his portion and he is our prize, drawn to redemption by the grace in his eyes. His grace is an ocean we're all sinking. So heaven meets earth like an unforeseen kiss, and my heart turns violently inside of my chest. I don't have time to maintain these regrets when I think about the way he loves us. Oh, how he loves us. Oh, how he loves us. Oh, how he loves. 'Cause he loves us. Oh, how he loves us. Oh, how he loves us. Oh, how he loves. Cause he loves us. Oh, how he loves us. Oh, how he loves us. Oh, how he loves.
Hello. Hope you have had a phenomenal last hour. We really, as a church, believe that Sunday morning, this can be the most hopeful and helpful hour of your week. And we want to thank you for being here today. As this month, we're kind of leaning into this conversation of money, because it's a topic that creates tension, just like Dallas says. And it's one of those things where we believe that there's a path to freedom, and that we get in the way. So I look forward to the next 2 weeks, like Dallas said, not how to make you rich, but how to move towards a place of freedom and peace, and not being crushed by the weight of finances. And so I'm excited for those next 2 weeks. But in 3 weeks from now, we actually have our Encounter Egg Drop. And this is why when we talk about the church and we talk about finances, I think for many of us, we have a really bad exposure to church and money. But the goal, when you walked in, you saw Love Does stamped on our wall, is that we really believe a church should be known for what they do for the community, not what they take from it. And God demonstrated love as a verb. It was an action. His death on the cross and resurrection from the grave is the greatest declaration of his love. And so as a church, we take love seriously. We believe it is a verb, not a noun. It's active, not passive. And so as a church, we do things throughout the year to serve our community locally, to create environments for our community to even experience God's love tangibly, practically. And through generosity of people, we create experiences for people kind of in the broader community, both nationally and internationally. because we believe we have a privilege and an opportunity. We get to show God's love to people, and that's such an amazing thing. And so that's why I want to encourage you. We are setting up for Encounter Egg Drop, and in just in the next week, we're going to open up registration in about 24 hours, if it makes it that long. It'll probably take about 12 hours, and the registration will completely fill. Thousands of people will sign up like that. And in order to prepare for thousands of people, a majority of them who do not go to church, who've never stepped foot into this church, and oftentimes, because of the conversations I have, are a little unsure of an event that a church would be putting on. Like, is this a bait or switch? Or had one person literally say to me, "Where's the goat's blood?" And I'm like, there's no goat blood here. That's on Sunday mornings is the goat blood. But it's a special goat blood room. You have to get to the higher tier. You have to pay up to that. So don't worry, you're not at that level yet. And so people are a little hesitant. And so that event is just one of those things where for some of you, you started attending this church because of that event. And to pull that event off, we need about 100 people. And we are well over half of those volunteer needs already met. But we need some of you to say yes. If you've never served at Encounter Church before, if you've never stepped into a community event, or maybe you've been to the egg drop before and you're like, "Oh, I really want to go with my family," this may be the year to ask an extended family member. Like my wife and I have done that, where we have grandma come in and grandpa come in, and they get to experience the egg drop, and Jenny and I are both serving in different places. Or maybe you kind of split it and one of you serves and the other one takes the kids, if that's the kind of the last barrier for you. But it's 3 or 4 hours on Saturday, April 1st. And my promise to you is that what you put into those 3 or 4 hours, Dallas said it, you can't outgive God in your time and in your money. And you're going to create a space where thousands of people walk away and their view of God's love and their view of church is a little bit different. And that's a win. And so I want to encourage you, as you head out today, there are going to be 2 iPads on the side of the walls where we normally check in. It already has Sign Up Genius pulled up. I emailed you yesterday with it, even though my video, which was loaded in there, did not go out. That's still okay. The sign up button did. And just pick a spot. If you like people, then pick a spot with people. If you don't like people, which is okay, no judgment, then pick a spot where there's no people. You can sit in the back and guard the eggs like a Secret Service agent and never have to interact with people unless it's teenagers you're running away from the eggs, right? So there is a spot for you, I guarantee, no matter what you do, no matter how much you enjoy people or not, we've created a space just for you. So Sign Up Genius on the way out. Please sign up. We need about 30 of you to say yes. And so that's easy. There's about 120, 130 people today here total throughout this building. So we should be able to pull that off. And the final thing is student ministry. Dallas, if you're kind of first time, Dallas leads our student ministry. And so student ministry is meeting tonight. So we look forward, if you have a teenager, to seeing you here this evening. And if not, we look forward to seeing you back here next week. God bless you. I hope you have a phenomenal Sunday. See you later.